hay algo que tiene John Baker con cada una de las historias que construye, tanto sea Tangerine, tanto sea el Proyecto Florida, como la genial Red Rocket, que es encontrar autenticidad en las historias que nos cuenta. Sobre eso y un montón de cosas más hablamos con Bree Elrod, una de las protagonistas de esta película llamada Red Rocket, en donde vemos a una antigua estrella de porno que parece que tiene una segunda oportunidad en la vida, que tiene que volver a su antiguo pueblo a reconstruir su vida y que descubre en una chica que trabaja en un sitio de donas que hay algo más que puede hacer con lo que dejó la vida. Todo esto en este informe sobre Red Rocket.
We now return to Mira Akien and Contre with our latest interview.
He had this passion project, which was kind of a further exploration of Starlet, which is one of his previous films. And he got to know a lot of these characters in the porn industry and world and became fascinated by them and wanted to do kind of almost a character study exploration of kind of a group of men that he met while he was filming Starlet.
You said you're never going to step a foot in Texas again.
I know, this is unexpected.
Oh, nothing with you is unexpected.
You know, Simon and we talked a little bit about, how we met and, and how our characters met and how, you have to, I think at some level, believe why Lexi would stick around and why she wouldn't and why she lets him stay. There has to be a reason why I think in another story, she'd be like, get off of my property. No, you're not coming in. But she doesn't. I mean, she does, but she doesn't. So you have to believe that there's still some kind of a connection between these two. And I think Simon and I really wanted to find what was it that actually shows or, at least illustrates that these people actually do kind of work together. They really do. In a way, Simon, his character Mikey is able to really be himself when he's around her. When those scenes, he's just himself. Of course he's like hiding a bunch of stuff, but he's not putting anything on. He's not trying to be somebody else because he's just is. And I think that is really important to see in their relationship, that in another world, in another time, these two would probably be a couple that actually works, even despite the volatileness of it and, the issues they have. Like, I think that they have a lot in common.
Call the cops. 10, 9,
Really?
8.
We decided to make a run of it.
I just need a place to crash for a couple of days. What's the big deal?
Mikey, go fuck yourself.
When Simon and we were getting ready to go to Cannes to premiere this for the first time, and we both said we can't have the first viewing of this to be seen like with Spike Lee at Cannes. Like, we've got to watch this before we go. So A24 was gracious enough to get us a private screening room, and Simon and I sat a chair apart and we watched it. And I would say after it got done, I was nervous. As an actor, I thought I was going to be sitting there critiquing all of my own performances and nuance and everything. But I think I really got swept away in the story. And so to me, this film is a story that's compelling. It's there's the anti-hero. There's this guy that we really should not want to like, but we're rooting for him. And I think that's the fun thing that I've heard from most people that have watched it is they're like, I really did not like him and I hated his behavior, but I wanted him to succeed. I wanted him. And I think that's interesting. To have a piece of art kind of resonate with people in that way. And, it's problematic for some people in other ways, but I really feel like the thing that sticks with me is just, it's a compelling story about a human who is trying to exist in the only way they know how, and using, knocking on all doors, using people in ways to get the things they want. And I mean, in the world, a lot of people are doing that. And so to see this guy doing it, I think is just, it's interesting.
So why are you back, Mr. Hollywood?
Mikey, welcome back, dude.
I'm on top of my game right now on like every single possible level.
I had seen Florida Project, and then after I got the offer, I watched Tangerine and Starlet, and I was just floored and blown away by the depth of humanity and character in all of those films. And I got very excited to kind of see how this would be fleshed out and what it would be like to work with him.
They show us maybe the trash side of
a city, a theme park, or like the porn stars like world. What do you think he sees, or like why do you think these films work so well?
Because Sean does a lot of street casting, he has this incredible eye and sense of humanness that whenever he casts people, they always invariably like bring themselves to the roles so that you get a slice of what it really is to exist in the world in which he is presenting and creating. I think authenticity is very important to him. And I don't ever feel like, at least when I was working on this, he really wanted the people who were of that community to feel like part of this artistic process. And he wanted the people in this community to feel like he had seen a slice of their life and that it wasn't some kind of, the words poverty porn, or, he didn't want that. He really wanted, I think some of the biggest compliments that he got, at least from what he told me when we were presenting these at festivals and things, there was a man who got up at one of the showings, I think it was in Houston or Austin, and he said, I rarely get to see my community reflected on a screen, and I felt like I knew these people. I grew up with these people, and it was just so refreshing to see this world shown. And I think you're right. I think a lot of people don't present this world, or if they do, it's a very kind of
It's magical.
Yeah, it's dramatized.
Yeah.
And certainly this is a fictional this is a fictional character, this is a fictional account, so there is some drama, there is some things that are added. It is not a documentary, because I do feel like some people are like, this is not how these people, and I'm like, this is just this story of these specific people.
The universe is on my side, bro. Before long, it'll be like we're still married.
We are still married.
For me, I feel so lucky because the crew that Sean found to work on this film with Ethan and Brittany and Brenda, and I mean it was such they were so game. They just were so game for anything, and it was refreshing for me having, I've trained in theater. I have a Master of Fine Arts from NYU. I have spent many hours, rolling around on a floor trying to find my voice, and just to have these people come in and are like, "What do you want us to do?" Okay, cool. Yep. I mean, it was an acting lesson for me. I mean, I learned so much from watching these people just exist. And I mean, that said, I mean, there were some moments, with Brenda, the woman who played my mom, Lil, who has since passed, who she and I became very close during this filming. And honestly, I had done a lot of research for the couple months before this started. And when I showed up and I met her, and she told me all these stories, she shared with me about all these stories about her life there. I really felt like, oh, okay, now I see who this woman is. I see who Lil can be, and I see who Lexi has come from.
And the only reason they didn't get that is the cops showed up and arrested my ass.
Why'd you get arrested? I have a feeling there's a whole lot more to this story. I'm sure there is.
When we were filming, there was definitely some moments where she was trying to smoke her real cigarettes. Like I was smoking herbal cigarettes, and she was smoking her real cigarettes every take. And there was a couple of times she was like, I don't know if I can smoke these anymore. And I was like, no. I was like, Brenda, you don't need to smoke. She's like, why do they keep wanting us to do it again? Did we not do it? We didn't do it well. And I'm like, no. You have to shoot from different angles, so there are definitely those moments where somebody who has not had a lot of film experience is a little bit like, why do we have to do this over and over? And why is the camera now moving over there? And why, but that said, she was totally game. And everyone was just so on board for it. So it was inspiring to me as an artist.
Where were you?
This cute little town called None of Your Fucking Business, Texas.
Hope you had a good fucking time.
I would say that 80% of it is scripted and 20% is improvised.
Okay.
And so we had one day where Simon and I first met, and we did go over the opening scene a few times, and Sean gave us a few notes, but really that was the only scene. And I think he and Susie also did a couple of scenes together. So there was a tiny little amount of rehearsal, maybe a couple hours. And the rest was just, honestly, a lot of it was shot chronologically, and so that helped, because as soon as we filmed that first scene on day one, I had this understanding of what the world was. I was like, oh, okay, this is the world. So that really helped me, because we didn't have a ton of rehearsal. But other than that, I really just trusted I trusted Sean. I trusted the other actors, that we would find something together, and we did. It's, Simon was just so playful, and he really was also so game for everything, that we found a lot together, and we had a lot of fun finding things together, because we trusted each other as artists, and like, do you want to do it this time? And Sean was very supportive, where he'd do a couple of set takes, and then he'd say, okay, now just whatever you guys want.
There's a particular song that like you can hear at the beginning of the film, then you sing it too. What do you think that the Bye 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 track adds to the film, and why do you think that this song is so important?
With this song, all of the members of NSYNC had to watch clips of when the song was going to be used. And so I just love the idea of Justin Timberlake and just watching this and being like, yeah, okay, I think we are most nervous because at the end it's played backwards, and so it's a little bit distorted. But I think Sean really wanted to find a song that was of the era of these two, of Lexi and MAQE. Like, what would be a song that they probably listened to growing up, that was on the radio? Like, what is of this world? And just, there's something about it that has this energy, and that was part of the fun of watching a lot of the festival. When we would do the festivals, I would always stand in the back to watch the first part of the film, because I loved watching people laugh or be tickled by the song. It just resonates with people. This song is just like, as soon as and now of course I can't hear it without thinking about the film. And for the year that we filmed that, this was the my Spotify #1 song, because I was like, of course it's Bye Bye Bye, because there was a moment where he thought that maybe Lexi in this final scenes would be singing a verse of it as he left. And so I was like just going over and over. So I played that song like maybe 4 million times. So Spotify's like, whoa, Bree loves Bye Bye Bye.
And don't even think about stepping foot in Texas City again. You got me?
Ain't no lie, baby. Bye, bye, bye.
I think it's just a song that really speaks to a lot of people about a certain period of time in history, and anyone who was around and is of a certain age is like, oh, this song, haha. And it just is, it's the sentiment of it is bye bye. Like, just get this guy out of everyone's lives and let these women continue to live a normal existence, however normal is to them.
Probably gonna start a fire.
What's your name?
Everybody calls me Strawberry.
You're like an extraterrestrial around here.
And fuck with me.
You said it's problematic for some people. Like, what things did you hear about the film that people didn't like or didn't like sympathize for?
I think people, it's hard for some people to see, MAQE hitting on a young woman, but I think Sean was really intentional in trying to make Strawberry's character have some agency, and that she in some ways is using him as much as he's using her to get out of the town. And I think that Sean really didn't want it to make it appear that she is a victim in any way, but I know that some, there will always be people who, have issues with these films, I think the more things that I've heard about it is people are just more like, oh, this guy, but I like him, I really like him, and that's a testament to the writing, and to Simon Rex, who is just such an incredible actor, who walked a very fine line that I don't think a lot of actors could have walked, in that you're just charmed by him. He's charismatic, he's funny, he's silly, but he cares about people in some ways. I think Simon he just nailed it.
The dog's like, oh, he's a good man. I can tell by his nice energy.
Your persona non grata.